S.S.S. Vaeira, Tovshin Ayin Tes. Before we begin tonight's year, just like to mention, in case it's possible for somebody not to notice, if you look behind me, if you look all around this building, if you feel it in the air in Lakewood, if you listen to the Nachum Segal show this week, if you're anywhere on this planet Earth, you know that this Motzei Shabbos is the grand Chinese auction for Bikuch Cholam of Lakewood. And Bikuch Cholam of Lakewood, goes without saying, is an extremely vital organization, not only to Lakewood, but it's an organization that branches out to so many places in the tri-state area and actually around the entire United States. It's an organization that helps so many people, but does it very unassumingly, very quietly, and it would be a fantastic thing if everybody was able to go online, or to somehow, if you're living under a rock, if you can't get yourself online, to somehow try to donate and join in this tremendous cause before this Motzei Shabbos. And in this week's Parsha, we're already deep into Mitzrayim. We're deep into Mitzrayim, that now we start to discuss this week the Makkos and the different things that were happening to Paroi, different things that now the wheels were turning for Geulas Mitzrayim. And one of the themes that we mentioned over the past couple of weeks, and really it's an extremely vital part of Golus, and a vital part of Golus Mitzrayim and Geulas Mitzrayim, is the fact that although Klal Yisrael was not really worthy at that point, Klal Yisrael was not really roi for the Geula at that time, Hashem still went ahead and called us, Klal Yisrael, called us B'ni B'chori Yisrael. And we touched on this topic last week and the week before, and it's an extremely vital theme, and it runs right through the entire Geula of Mitzrayim, is that we were not worthy. We weren't ready for Geula. And Hashem called us B'ni B'chori Yisrael. And we know that the first of the S.S.S. Hadibros, we're actually going to read it already in a couple of weeks in Parshat Yisroi, but the first of the S.S.S. Hadibros tells us, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Hashem says, I am Hashem your God, Asher Hoitzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. And it's very, of course, very connected to this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha, where we're beginning to actually start to move out of Mitzrayim. Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hoitzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. And the question that the Mefarshim ask over here on this first one of the S.S.S. Hadibros is, why does it not say Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Barasi Es Ha'olam? Hashem identifies himself. We're in S.S.S. Hadibros now, where we're trying to make a vital, important statement. And Hashem says, I am your God, but how am I your God? I am your God. You know which God? The God that took you out of Mitzrayim. I would think that a more appropriate statement at this time would be, Hashem would say, I am your God that created the world. Why Asher Hoitzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim? And the Nesivos Shalom tells us that the reason it says Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hoitzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim, because we need to learn two vital lessons and two vital facets of Emunah from this one of the S.S.S. Hadibros. First of all, there's Anochi Hashem. The S.S.S. Hadibros start Anochi Hashem. That's plain, straight Emunah. Hashem says, I am the God. That's Emunah in Hashem. And then there's the next word, Elokecha. And Hashem is teaching us, and He's teaching us an extremely important lesson, which is just as important for Emunah. Anochi Hashem, Hashem saying, I'm your God. That's lesson number one in Emunah. But lesson number two is Anochi Hashem, what? Elokecha. And Elokecha tells us that I am your God in any matzav. I am your God no matter where you are holding. You're always B'ni B'chori Yisrael. And the place that we see that most from is Asher Hotzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Hashem is teaching us Elekecha. I am your God, Asher Hotzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim, because you know why? At the time of Mitzrayim it was shown most because we didn't deserve it at all. We didn't have the merit to have a geula from Mitzrayim. But Hashem is telling you, Anochi Hashem Elekecha Asher Hotzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim, that no matter where you are, and no matter what madrega you're on, I am here. And Hashem made that vital lesson part of the S.S.S. Hadibros, so we should always remember that. And that is part of Emunah. Emunah also means, says the Nesivos Shalom, to really believe and internalize that Hashem is always with us no matter where we're holding and no matter where we are. And Hashem will always accept us wherever we are holding. And Hashem tells us, Anochi, what? Elekecha. Even when we're in the matzav of the way we were at Yitzias Mitzrayim. Nesivos Shalom tells us something else, and he says that we want to keep this, right? How do we keep this alive? We know this lesson, and this thing was here at the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim, at the time of Maimon Har Sinai. How do we keep this alive? That Hashem, we should always merit the kindness, the chesed, the recognition from Hashem wherever we're holding. And Nesivos Shalom says, you know how we keep the love of Hashem with us? We have to act in a certain way to Hashem too. And how do we serve Hashem? The question is, how does a person serve Hashem? And there are different ways to serve Hashem. A person can serve Hashem as an eved, where you're just a servant, and then a person can serve Hashem as a son. How do you feel when you serve Hashem? Nesivos Shalom asked this question. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're a servant, or do you feel like you're a son? Because a son is different. A son knows that even if he's not always perfect, and many times a son might not deserve things, but a son knows that he's always a son. A servant has a problem. Like if you don't do your job, if you don't serve who you are supposed to be serving, if you're an employee, you don't do your job, there's a chance you're going to lose your job because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's a servant. But a son knows that no matter what happens, and even if you're not perfect, and even if you're not so good, the title of son, you never, ever lose. And those are different ways of serving Hashem. Do you serve Hashem like a servant, or do you serve Hashem like a son? And the time that we really get to serve Hashem like a child, says in the Nesivos Shalom, where we really earn our title of Beni B'chayri Yisrael, what Hashem called us at the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim, at the time we were in Mitzrayim, you know when we get to serve Hashem like a child? That, says in the Nesivos Shalom, is on Shabbos. And he says like this, you know, during the week, we're really like a servant. We're like a slave to everything we feel we need to chase and we need to do. Today, more so than at any other time in the history, we're running around, we're chasing our tails, we're trying to accomplish and do, we're running around in circles, and we're convinced that we're the ones making parnasa, and we're the ones who are running around and grabbing the bull by the horns and making things happen. And we know it's ridiculous. If a person has emunah, if a person has bitachon, he knows that what we do is nothing. It has nothing to do with what's actually happening. And we're running around with servants the entire week. But the chance that we have to serve Hashem like a son, that is on Shabbos. On Shabbos, we are children. On Shabbos, there's a special love between Klal Yisrael and Hashem. Hashem, Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oisi v'olam. It's a time that we're connected, that we are in a special relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, in Kiddush, we say something very interesting. In Kiddush, we talk about Shabbos, but you know what else we say in Kiddush? In Kiddush, we say, Zecher Litzias Mitzrayim. Kiddush is a remembrance, Zecher Litzias Mitzrayim. You know why? Because on Shabbos, we can identify with, and we can connect to the idea that wherever we're holding, we're a son. And that's the lesson we learned, Zecher Litzias Mitzrayim. We learned that lesson at Mitzrayim when we were undeserving. But Hashem told us, no, you're my son, you're my children, and I'm going to take you out of Mitzrayim. And we accepted, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we know from there how much we are wanted by Hashem. And the Nesivos Shalom tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the Geula of Mitzrayim and the Geulas that have followed and that will follow B'Korav very soon, they are all totally in Shabbos. And how a Yid behaves and how a Yid is close to Hashem on Shabbos. And the Nesivos Shalom tells us that is why the Yetzer Hara puts a lot of emphasis and a lot of effort in not letting a person have Shabbos the way it is supposed to be. He doesn't want you to be able to think straight on Shabbos either. He wants you to be running around and be confused and be busy with things on Shabbos. Go to shul and discuss your work and your business and how much you made it and how the stocks were this week and what's going on. Even though you shouldn't be able to think about stocks now on Shabbos, it's a little depressing the last few weeks. But the bottom line is that the Yetzer Hara wants you to be busy with other things. He doesn't want you to think straight on Shabbos. And the way to our Geula, we have to know, will be through Shabbos. Hashem has injected this spirit into every generation. The ability to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the ability to connect to Hashem through Shabbos, and to build the confidence through Shabbos of knowing that Hashem never ever writes us off. And we need to know that. The Zohar has a pshat. And the Zohar says that when Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu by the sneh, by the thorn bush, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, Shal ne'alecha me'al raglecha, take your shoes off your feet, ki hamakoim asher ato imed olav, the place where you are standing right now, admas kodesh, it is a holy place. And the Zohar tells us that admas kodesh means do Shabbato. Admas kodesh is referring to Shabbos. The place where you are standing, the zchus that's going to bring you, and the zchus that in the future is going to take Klal Yisrael out of Golus, Do Shabbata. Those two words were referring to Shabbos. That the sneh would not burn, the thorn bush would not burn, although it should have. So too, Klal Yisrael, Hashem was telling Moshe Rabbeinu, Klal Yisrael will never burn. Klal Yisrael will never go down. And you know why? And what zchus? Do Shabbata. Because Klal Yisrael is going to have the zchus of Shabbos, and they're going to know how to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu HaShabbos. We always have the koyach of Shabbos with us. We have it today too. We have that zchus to connect and to lift us up on Shabbos, to be different people on Shabbos, to eat differently, to talk differently, to behave differently, to treat your family differently, to plain old act differently, to reconnect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you know when we need to start? We need to start this Shabbos. When we say Zecher L'Tzias Mitzrayim, when this week there's so much going on with Gulas Mitzrayim, we need to start this week and realize that we have to be different people. And if we treat Hashem differently, if we come close to Hashem as a child on Shabbos, Hashem will turn around to us and say, even if we're not so deserving, Hashem will look at us as children and tell us, I'll give you what you want, even though you don't deserve it. So it's a two-way street. We should serve Hashem the way we should on Shabbos. And Hashem will turn around and love us as children and give us more than we deserve, starting this Shabbos.